Let's cut through the lies. Every day, thousands of men wake up replaying the same scene in their minds, staring at their phones, waiting for a text that never comes. They convince themselves she's just busy, that maybe she didn't see the message, or that if they wait long enough, she'll remember how kind, loyal, and patient they've been. Weeks pass, months disappear, and somewhere between the fake smiles and the last-minute cancellations, a man's self-respect quietly dies. This is the silent tragedy of modern men, chasing what was never theirs, mistaking silence for mystery and politeness for potential. They read the signs, but they don't believe them. She cancels dinner, but maybe she really had to work late. She takes hours to reply, but maybe her phone died. She laughs at another man's jokes, but maybe they're just friends. Every excuse becomes a rope that ties him tighter to his own denial. Stop. That's not reality. That's addiction. The truth is harsh but simple. When a woman truly wants you, you will know. You won't have to decode her energy, interpret her tone, or wait for her availability. Her interest will be clear. Her presence will be consistent. Her effort will be visible. And when she doesn't want you, you'll know that too, if you're strong enough to see it. But most men aren't. Most men prefer the comfort of illusion over the clarity of truth. They live in the illusion of maybe. Maybe she's tired. Maybe she's scared. Maybe she just needs time. But maybe is the language of men who fear rejection more than disrespect, and that fear makes them blind. Let me be brutally honest. She's not too busy for life. She's just too busy for you. If a woman truly values you, she will carve out time. She'll text during her lunch break, rearrange her schedule, and show up when it matters. Because people always make time for what and who they value. When she doesn't, when every interaction feels forced, delayed, or half-hearted, she's showing you exactly where you stand. But you keep chasing because somewhere deep down, you think your patience will earn her love. It won't. This isn't about bitterness. This is about awareness, Stoic awareness. The ability to see reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. The ancient Stoics understood that pain doesn't come from what happens to us, but from our refusal to accept it. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If someone can show me that what I think or do is wrong, I will happily change, for I seek the truth." That's the heart of this message, seeking the truth even when it hurts, because denial is easy. Acceptance requires courage, and courage is what separates the ordinary from the Stoic. This isn't another dating pep talk. This is a wake-up call for men who are tired of being fooled by their own hope. Because no matter how charming, confident, or giving you are, attraction cannot be negotiated. Respect cannot be begged. Interest cannot be forced. You can't make someone want you by waiting longer, caring harder, or texting more. You want to know if she's into you? Watch what she does, not what she says. When you stop romanticizing mixed signals, when you stop giving endless second chances to people who treat your time like trash, you'll start to see what Stoicism really means. It's not about suppressing emotion. It's about mastering it. It's about standing tall in the storm of rejection, unshaken, because your value doesn't depend on anyone else's approval. That's what this journey is about. In this message, I'm going to walk you through 7 undeniable signs a woman isn't into you. Not opinions, not dating tricks. Reality. The kind most men avoid facing because it shatters the fantasy they've built around her. Each sign is a mirror, not for her, but for you. It will show you how much of your energy, your time, and your self-respect you've been handing away for free. But if you have the strength to face these truths, something remarkable happens. You stop chasing, and you start leading. You stop begging for validation, and you start radiating value. You stop being the man who waits, and you become the man who walks. That's the transformation of a Stoic man. From desperate to disciplined, from emotional chaos to calm clarity. Because the harsh truth is this: you can't control her feelings, but you can always control your response. You can't force respect, but you can command it by how you act when it's withheld. The Stoic doesn't need closure, apologies, or explanations. He observes the signs, accepts them, and adjusts. And when you master that mindset, when you stop chasing ghosts and start respecting your time, the entire game changes. Suddenly, You're not begging to be chosen. You're choosing yourself. You're choosing peace over chaos, dignity over drama. And that quiet confidence will make you more magnetic than any text, trick, or tactic ever could. So before we dive into the 7 signs, take a breath. Prepare to hear what most men never want to hear. The truth. Because the truth doesn't just set you free, it makes you unshakable. And if you're tired of lies, if you're ready to face reality like a Stoic and reclaim your peace, you're in the right place. This is True Stoic Way. Sign 1. She doesn't value your time. It starts small. She's late. Just 10 minutes. She smiles, apologizes, maybe even gives you that cute, "Sorry, I lost track of time" look. You brush it off because she's beautiful, and you don't want to seem upset over something minor. The next time, it's 20 minutes. No apology. Just an excuse. Traffic was bad. Then 30 minutes. Then an hour. Before long, you're sitting alone at a restaurant table, checking your phone every 5 minutes, convincing yourself that she's worth waiting for. And when she finally shows up, you smile as if nothing happened, because you don't want to ruin the mood. But here's the truth. The mood was already ruined the moment you decided your time didn't matter. This is how it begins for so many men. A slow erosion of dignity disguised as patience. You tell yourself she's stressed. You tell yourself she's just busy. You tell yourself she'll come around. You create elaborate stories to protect your ego, because accepting the truth would hurt more than waiting. But each time you make an excuse for her, you train her to see your time as worthless. You teach her that you'll always wait, that she can disrespect your time, and you'll still be there. And once she learns that lesson, she never unlearns it. Because the truth is simple. When someone values you, they value your time. Time is the purest form of respect. It's the one thing we can never get back. You can lose money and earn it again. You can lose a job and find another. But every minute you spend waiting for someone who doesn't care, that's gone forever. A Stoic man understands this. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Think about that. You could die tomorrow, and yet you're spending today waiting for a text from someone who doesn't respect you. That's not love. That's self-abandonment." When she repeatedly disrespects your time, she's not confused. She's not testing your patience. She's telling you, without words, that you're not a priority. A woman who truly wants to see you will find a way. She'll rearrange her schedule, text you first, or check in if she's running late. Because when someone values you, they make the effort. But when she doesn't, everything else suddenly becomes more important. Work, friends, scrolling TikTok, watching Netflix, even doing nothing. She's not too busy. She's just too busy for you. And here's where most men fail. They don't walk away. They wait longer. They double down on effort. They try to be even more understanding. They think patience will prove their worth. But patience isn't the same as self-respect. One builds character, the other builds resentment. Let me paint you 2 pictures. The first man plans a dinner date, an hour before she cancels. "Sorry, something came up." He smiles, replies with, "No worries. Let me know when you're free." Days pass, then weeks. She never reaches out. He checks her Instagram, sees her out with friends, still convinces himself she'll text soon. He's not waiting for her. He's waiting for validation. The second man faces the same situation. She cancels last minute. He doesn't argue, doesn't beg. He simply says, "Got it," and moves on. He doesn't text again, doesn't stalk her social media. He invests his time in his goals, his peace, and his mission. When she realizes he didn't sit around waiting, when she sees he kept living his life, that's when she feels the loss. 2 men, 2 reactions, 2 destinies. The first man loses time, the second gains respect. That's the Stoic difference. Because to a Stoic, time isn't just hours on a clock. Time is energy. It's life itself. Every minute spent chasing someone who's not invested in you is a minute stolen from your growth, your purpose, your potential. A man who respects his time becomes magnetic. A man who wastes it becomes invisible. The Stoic doesn't beg for attention. He observes, accepts, and acts. He doesn't wait for people to value him. He values himself enough to walk away when they don't. If this truth hits you hard, pause and share this message. That's how we grow the Stoic brotherhood. Because this isn't just about dating, it's about discipline. Every time you tolerate disrespect, you weaken your boundaries. You tell the world that you'll tolerate being treated as an option. And people, women included, will always treat you the way you allow them to. The next time she shows up late, don't wait an hour. Leave. The next time she cancels last minute, don't reschedule. Move on. You don't need to explain your worth. You don't need to prove you're patient. You need to show, through action, that your time is gold. When you carry yourself like a man whose time is sacred, the world notices. The right woman notices. Because self-respect is the loudest signal of all. Let her be too busy. Let her flake. Let her vanish. You don't chase her, you replace her. Not with another woman, but with purpose. Go train, build, read, grow. Redirect your time toward the one person who truly deserves it, you. Because every time you choose yourself, your energy shifts. You stop moving like a beggar of attention and start moving like a man of value. And when that happens, everything changes. The truth is, the right woman won't make you wait. She'll be waiting for you. So the next time you catch yourself checking your phone, hoping she'll text, remember this. If she can't respect your time, she can't respect you. Walk away. Not to punish her, but to protect your dignity. Because your time is sacred. And any woman who doesn't treat it that way doesn't deserve it. A Stoic man knows when to stay calm, but he also knows when to stand up and walk. Sign 2. Her phone is more important than you. You're sitting across from her at a cafe. The lighting is soft, the music low, the kind of setting that should spark real connection. But instead of looking into your eyes, she's looking at her screen. Her fingers are dancing across it like you're not even there. She's smiling, but not at you. She's laughing, but not because of anything you said. You're physically present, but emotionally invisible. You tell yourself it's fine. Maybe she's replying to something important. Maybe it's work. But minutes turn to half an hour and you realize the truth. You're not on a date. You're just background noise to her digital world. She scrolls through TikTok, replies to texts, checks notifications. Every time her phone lights up, her eyes light up too, while yours fade. You try to keep the conversation alive. You ask a question, tell a story, crack a joke. She nods politely without looking up, gives a faint "haha," and dives right back into the glowing screen. That's not disinterest you can talk your way out of. That's disinterest being broadcast in real time. Because here's the brutal truth. Attention is the purest form of attraction. When a woman truly wants you, her focus is magnetic. The phone disappears. The outside world fades. She locks into you with full presence, because connection demands presence. But when her phone becomes more interesting than you, that's not bad timing. That's a statement. If she can give Instagram her full attention but can't give you 5 uninterrupted minutes, she's already told you how she feels, without saying a word. Seneca once wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." A woman who's glued to her phone while you're right in front of her is not in the present with you. And if she can't even enjoy your company now, what makes you think she'll value it later? But here's where most men collapse. Instead of reading the sign for what it is, they panic. They think, I just need to be more entertaining. So they talk louder, tell funnier stories, exaggerate their achievements, anything to steal back her focus. They start performing, like a comedian fighting for laughs from a distracted crowd. And that's when their value plummets. Because the harder you fight for attention, the more you confirm you've already lost it. You're showing her that her validation means more than your self-respect, and nothing kills attraction faster than desperation. You can't outshine the dopamine factory of social media. You can't compete with the endless scroll of memes, messages, and filters designed to keep her addicted. Every time you try, you just look smaller, needier, weaker. A Stoic man doesn't compete for attention. He commands it through calm presence, and when it's not returned, he withdraws it without resentment. He doesn't lecture her. He doesn't beg for eye contact. He doesn't sulk or complain. He simply observes. He sees where her energy is going and quietly reclaims his own. Because attention is energy, and a Stoic never wastes energy on someone who doesn't value it. Let me give you two men to picture. The first man is sitting on a first date. He notices she's scrolling her phone mid-conversation. He laughs nervously, tells another joke, tries to win her focus. She glances up, smiles half-heartedly, and scrolls again. He keeps trying, louder, funnier, needier. By the end of the night, he's drained. He paid for the drinks, carried the conversation, and walked away feeling invisible. The second man faces the same situation. 5 minutes into the date, she's glued to her phone. He pauses, smiles, and says calmly, "Looks like you're busy. Let's do this another time." He stands, pays for his coffee, and leaves. No drama, no anger, just calm certainty. Guess which man leaves an impression? Not the one who performed for attention, the one who respected himself enough to walk. That's Stoic power. The ability to remain centered even when your ego screams for validation. The discipline to choose dignity over attention. A Stoic man understands that presence is sacred. It's not something to beg for, it's something to exchange. If you give your full presence and it isn't returned, you don't argue for it. You remove it. So the next time she can't stop checking her phone, don't try to compete. Don't raise your voice or demand attention. Just observe. If it's a one-time slip, let it go. If it becomes a pattern, that's your answer. Don't stay and explain why it bothers you. Don't text her later asking what went wrong. It didn't go wrong. It was never right. Your silence will say more than any complaint ever could. Because when you walk away calmly, something powerful happens. You remind her, and yourself, that your time is not to be wasted, and your presence is not to be ignored. You show her that you don't need to be noticed to have worth. You are worth, embodied in restraint. And here's the paradox. When a woman sees a man who values his attention, she suddenly wants it. The same focus she once took for granted now becomes rare, and rarity breeds respect. So don't chase her focus, guard yours. The moment you stop begging for validation, you reclaim your strength. You stop being an entertainer and become an observer. You stop being reactive and start being sovereign. Because a Stoic man doesn't need to be the loudest in the room. His silence speaks louder than noise. If she's more engaged with her phone than with you, she's not telling you she's busy. She's telling you where her heart isn't. Believe her. Accept it. Move on. Remember, a man's value isn't proven by how hard he tries to get attention, but by how gracefully he withdraws it when it's not deserved. So next time you're across that table and she's scrolling instead of seeing you, don't fight for her eyes. Stand up for your worth. Because at the end of the day, a Stoic man doesn't beg to be noticed. He notices when it's time to leave. Sign 3, she's always too busy. You text her, "Hey, want to grab dinner this week?" She replies hours later, "I'd love to, but work is insane right now." A few days pass. You try again. "How about Saturday?" She says, "I'm swamped again. Maybe next time." But then you check her Instagram story, and there she is out with friends, laughing, sipping cocktails, living life like she's got all the free time in the world. That's when the truth hits. She's not too busy for life. She's just too busy for you. Men don't like hearing that, but it's the raw reality. Everyone in this world is busy. We all have jobs, families, friends, responsibilities. But we all make time for what we value. When a woman truly likes you, she'll find a way. Even if it's just 5 minutes on her lunch break, she'll text. Even if it's late at night, she'll call. When a woman wants you in her world, she creates time. She doesn't hide behind the excuse of not having any. That's the difference between genuinely busy and conveniently busy. When she's genuinely busy, you'll feel her effort. She'll explain, she'll check in, she'll reschedule. But when she's conveniently busy, you'll feel her absence. Vague replies, endless excuses, and promises that never turn into plans. Busy becomes her shield, her polite way of saying, "You're not my priority." And yet most men don't want to see it. They tell themselves stories to keep the illusion alive. She's under pressure at work. She's just tired. She's overwhelmed. No, she's simply uninterested. Because when someone values you, they don't need to be reminded to make time for you. They want to. The Stoics had a word for this kind of clarity: prohairesis, the ability to control your own choices regardless of circumstance. A Stoic man doesn't beg for attention. He recognizes the difference between what he can control, his actions, his mindset, and what he can't, her effort, her feelings, her excuses. Epictetus said it best: if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In this case, that means don't be afraid to look cold when you walk away from someone who keeps saying, "I'm too busy." To her it might look harsh. To others, it might look like you gave up too easily. But in truth, you're protecting your energy. You're refusing to pause your life for someone who clearly isn't pausing hers for you. Let me tell you a story. Chris is a good man in his 40s, successful, kind, stable. He meets a younger woman, magnetic, beautiful, full of charm. He asks her out. She says, "I'm really busy with work right now, maybe later." Chris believes her. Days pass, then weeks. Every few days he sends a text, "How's work?" Or, "Are you free yet?" She keeps replying, "Still slammed, sorry." Months go by. Nothing happens. Meanwhile, Chris keeps checking his phone, waiting for a message that never comes. His life is on hold for a woman who already moved on. Daniel, on the other hand, meets the same woman. He asks her out. She says, "I'm too busy this week." He smiles and replies calmly, "Got it. No worries." Then he stops reaching out. He gets back to work, back to training, back to his life. Weeks later, guess who she calls? Not Chris, who kept orbiting. Daniel. Why? Because his silence exposed the truth. She wasn't actually too busy. She just wasn't interested enough. And when she realized she couldn't string him along, her curiosity pulled her back. That's the power of detachment. Because disinterest creates excuses, but confidence destroys them. A man who respects his time doesn't argue with "I'm busy." He doesn't question it, chase it, or wait for it to change. He accepts it at face value and moves forward. He understands that "too busy" is just a polite translation for "you're not important enough," and that's fine. Not everyone will prioritize you. The Stoic response isn't anger or bitterness. It's acceptance. It's calm understanding that your worth doesn't shrink just because someone else can't see it. So, when she says she's too busy, don't chase. Don't ask when she'll be free. Don't adjust your schedule to fit hers. Simply respond, "Got it. No worries." Then move on. No sarcasm, no attitude, just clarity. That one sentence communicates everything. That you're not desperate, not reactive, and not waiting around for her availability. You're a man whose life doesn't pause for anyone, and that's magnetic. Because here's the irony. When you stop chasing the too busy woman, you stop being one of the many. You become the exception. You become the man she remembers not because you begged for attention, but because you didn't. A Stoic man knows that his time is not an offering, it's an investment. And if the return isn't there, he pulls his energy back and places it where it grows. In himself, his purpose, his craft, his peace. Chris waited and got nothing. Daniel walked and gained respect. 2 choices, 2 outcomes. Which kind of man do you want to be? Remember this truth. You don't need to decode her words. You just need to watch her actions. People always make time for what they value. If she's not making time for you, that is your answer. So stop justifying her distance. Stop rationalizing her excuses. Stop chasing after maybe. Because "I'm busy" doesn't mean she's drowning in work. It means you're drowning in denial. The Stoic doesn't beg for clarity. He already has it. He hears "I'm too busy" and translates it for what it really is. You're not my priority. And instead of trying to prove his worth, he smiles, nods, and walks away. Calm, unbothered, free. Because in the end, disinterest always creates excuses. And a man who values his peace never chases excuses. He chooses himself. Sign 4. Conversations feel forced. You send a text. "How was your day?" She replies, "Good." You try again. "What did you do?" She says, Just work. You tell a funny story, something that would normally get a laugh, and 3 hours later, she replies with a single dry emoji. Ha ha ha, nice. That's not a conversation. That's a slow funeral for your connection. You can feel it. The energy is gone. The flow is gone. Every message you send feels like dragging a boulder uphill, exhausting, one-sided, and going nowhere. But you keep texting anyway, hoping the next line will reignite the spark that was never really there. This is the trap most men fall into. They mistake politeness for interest. They think that as long as she's replying, there's still a chance. But polite replies aren't effort. They're just her way of letting you down slowly. Because here's the truth. When a woman is truly interested, curiosity flows effortlessly. She wants to know you. She asks questions. She laughs. She shares little stories about her life that she doesn't tell anyone else. She invests. She leans in. She remembers what you said last week and brings it up again. That's what real interest looks like. But when she's not into you, everything changes. Her energy flattens. Her replies shrink. Her curiosity dies. She gives you just enough to keep you guessing, but never enough to keep you growing. And deep down, you can feel it. You can feel that something's off. That what used to feel exciting now feels heavy. You're carrying all the weight while she barely lifts a finger. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Think about that. A person's energy always reflects what's on their mind. If her words are flat, if her tone feels cold, if her messages are lifeless, that's the color of her thoughts about you. You don't need to overanalyze. The truth is already there. The Stoic doesn't deny what he feels. He observes it. He accepts it. He adjusts. Because energy doesn't lie. If you have to force a conversation, it's already dead. If you have to plan every topic, chase every reply, fill every silence, you're not connecting, you're performing. And here's the worst part. The more you perform, the less she respects you. Because every time you try harder than her, you're confirming that she doesn't need to try at all. Let's look at two men. Mike is texting a woman he likes. He's funny, clever, trying to keep the vibe alive. But she gives him nothing. Short replies, delayed answers, and dry laughter. Mike panics. He doubles down, sends another story, another joke, anything to get a reaction. He spends the whole night glued to his phone, staring at the typing bubbles that never appear. And when she finally replies with ha 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 yeah, he convinces himself it means something, but it doesn't. It's pity disguised as politeness. Now James is in the same situation. He asks, "How was your day?" She says, "Good." He doesn't chase. He simply replies, "Glad to hear it." And then he goes about his life. He doesn't send 3 follow-ups. He doesn't try to force a spark that isn't there. He doesn't spend the evening waiting for her next text. He stays grounded, centered, unmoved. Guess who keeps his dignity? Guess who earns more respect, even if she's not interested? James. Because James understands a simple truth. You can't force curiosity. You can't convince someone to care. You can't build attraction by effort alone. Real connection breathes on its own. It doesn't need CPR. The Stoic approach isn't to fight the silence. It's to respect it. If she's giving one-word answers, match her energy. Be polite but detached. Mirror her effort, not her excuses. Pull back. If she's interested, she'll notice your absence and reach out. If she's not, you've saved yourself weeks of emotional labor. You don't chase silence. You don't interpret indifference as mystery. You simply read the energy and act accordingly. Because here's the reality. The harder you try to keep a dying conversation alive, the faster it dies. And that's what most men refuse to accept. That less effort can actually mean more respect. When you stop trying to entertain, you stop being the performer. You become the man who commands attention through calm detachment. A Stoic man doesn't fear silence. He uses it. He understands that silence reveals more truth than words ever could. So the next time a conversation feels forced, don't beg for energy. Don't ask, "What's wrong?" Don't send another good morning text, hoping she'll suddenly light up. Just stop. Observe. Withdraw gracefully. Because when you stop forcing it, 2 things happen. You regain your energy, and you reveal the truth. If she cares, she'll notice the space and fill it. If she doesn't, the silence will stay. Either way, you win clarity. That's Stoic strength, clarity over chaos. So let the conversation die if it's meant to die. Don't chase ghosts. Don't waste your time writing paragraphs to someone who replies with K, because at the end of the day, connection is like fire. If it needs constant blowing to stay alive, it was never fire, just smoke. A Stoic man never chases smoke. He walks toward the places where the flame burns naturally, where curiosity is mutual, where energy flows both ways. He doesn't chase curiosity, he lets her show it. And if she doesn't, he moves on. Calmly, confidently, completely. Sign 5. She avoids being alone with you. You ask her out for dinner. She says yes, but when you show up, she's brought 2 friends. You plan a quiet coffee date. She turns it into a group hangout with her coworkers. At a party, you try to pull her aside for a private moment, and within seconds, she drags another person into the conversation. It's subtle, but deliberate. She's keeping a buffer, an invisible wall between you and her. This is one of the clearest, yet most overlooked signs that she's not into you. Because attraction thrives in privacy. That's where tension builds, where chemistry grows, where connection deepens. When someone genuinely wants you, they crave those one-on-one moments, not to hide, but to connect. They want that quiet space where the rest of the world disappears and it's just the 2 of you. So when she constantly avoids being alone with you, she's not protecting her reputation. She's protecting herself from intimacy she doesn't want. Most men ignore this. They tell themselves she's just shy, or more comfortable in groups, or taking it slow. But deep down, they know the truth. She's avoiding privacy because she doesn't feel the spark, and instead of admitting that, she hides behind company, safety in numbers. It's not that she's afraid of you. She's afraid of the silence between you. Because in silence, the truth is impossible to disguise. When there's no one else around to distract her, she'd have to face the lack of chemistry, and so would you. Epictetus once said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." And that's exactly the problem. Most men convince themselves they already know she's interested. They interpret every group outing as progress, every casual meetup as potential. They see what they want to see, not what's actually there. But Stoicism demands brutal honesty. With others, and most importantly, with yourself. If she's avoiding alone time with you, it's not a mystery to solve. It's an answer to accept. Let's break it down with 2 men. Jason meets a woman he really likes. They hit it off at first. Light banter, laughter, some shared interests. So he asks her out to dinner. She agrees, but brings 2 of her friends along. Jason tells himself it's fine, maybe she's nervous. He pays for everyone, tries to be charming, tries to stand out. But the whole night she's focused on her friends, barely looking at him. When it's over, he goes home confused, wondering if he did something wrong. Mark, on the other hand, meets the same type of woman. He invites her for coffee. She says, "Can I bring a friend?" Mark smiles and replies calmly, "No worries. Let's just do it another time." He doesn't argue. He doesn't push. He doesn't take it personally. He simply recognizes the sign and walks away. Guess which man she ends up respecting more? Not Jason, who accepted scraps of her attention, but Mark. Because Mark communicated a silent truth. "I'm not here for background noise. I'm here for connection." That's Stoic composure in action. A Stoic man doesn't beg for intimacy. He doesn't chase proximity without progress. He understands that being around her means nothing if she's emotionally absent. If you have to fight for alone time, you're not building attraction. You're negotiating relevance. When a woman truly wants you, she'll create opportunities for privacy. She'll want those quiet moments where she can drop her mask, lower her voice, and be real. But when she keeps you in the group, she's keeping you in the safe zone, the friend zone, the comfort zone, the "I like your attention but not your presence" zone. And here's the dangerous illusion. Many men equate proximity with progress. They think, "At least I get to see her, even if she brings friends." But that's not connection. That's avoidance in disguise. Every time you settle for less than full presence, You teach her that you'll accept half effort, half attention, half investment. If you've ever settled for half attention, remember, this community exists to remind you that you deserve full presence. Subscribe to True Stoic Way, because you don't win respect by being available for every group outing. You win respect by having standards. If she doesn't want to meet one-on-one, that's your cue, not your challenge. A Stoic man doesn't take rejection personally. He sees it as redirection, a moment of truth that frees him to invest his energy where it belongs. So what should you do if she keeps avoiding being alone with you? Simple. Stop chasing shared spaces. Stop showing up to group hangouts hoping to get closer. Stop mistaking convenience for connection. You don't need to lecture her. You don't need to explain what you want. You show it through boundaries. If she only wants group settings, step back. Let her stay there, because the moment you stop showing up for half attention, you open the door to full respect. And here's the paradox. When you pull away, you stop being one of the crowd. You become the man who doesn't settle for fragments of affection. And that's the man who stands out. If she's truly interested, your distance will wake her up. If she's not, she'll fade, and you'll have your clarity. Either way, you win peace. The Stoic doesn't chase what hides. He doesn't cling to situations that don't grow. He knows that forced proximity is not connection, it's comfort built on denial. So when she brings her friend along again, or dodges the chance to be alone with you, smile. Not out of bitterness, but out of awareness. You've seen the truth. You don't need to argue it. You just need to honor it. Remember this, brother. A woman who wants you will seek privacy. A woman who doesn't will seek buffers. Stop mistaking her comfort for chemistry. Stop believing that time spent near her means progress. It doesn't. It just keeps you orbiting someone who already made her decision. Don't settle for proximity without progress. Walk away with quiet confidence, because the right woman won't hide behind friends to avoid you. She'll look for every reason to be alone with you. And when that moment comes, you'll know the difference. Not because she says it, but because her presence says it for her. Sign 6, her body language closes you off. You're standing next to her, talking, smiling, trying to connect. But something feels off. She's there, but not with you. Her body says everything her words won't. Her arms are crossed tight, her shoulders angled slightly away, her eyes darting around the room as if she's searching for an exit. Every time you lean in, she subtly leans back. You can almost feel the invisible wall between you. That's not shyness. That's disinterest. And no matter what she says, her body will always tell the truth first. A woman's body language is her most honest translator. When she's attracted, she opens, literally. Her posture relaxes, her shoulders soften, her body leans toward you. She mirrors your movements. She smiles easily, plays with her hair, or finds small excuses to close the space between you. Her eyes stay on you a little too long, and when you talk, she's locked in. But when she's not interested, everything closes. Her arms cross, creating a barrier. Her legs turn away. Her body angles toward the nearest escape route. She avoids eye contact, looks around the room, fidgets with her jewelry, or checks her phone. Even her tone changes, shorter sentences, polite but flat responses. And yet, most men ignore these signs. They tell themselves, she's just shy. Maybe she's nervous. I'll make her comfortable. No, she's not uncomfortable. She's uninterested. Marcus Aurelius once said, if someone shows you their true character, don't wish it were otherwise. That applies here perfectly. When her body shows you she doesn't want closeness, believe it. Don't build stories. Don't romanticize resistance. Don't mistake discomfort for mystery. Because the body never lies. Attraction is open. Disinterest is closed. A woman's body will always lean toward what it wants and away from what it doesn't. You can't argue with that. You can't talk your way around it. You can't earn your way into attraction through persistence. And yet, so many men try. They think, if I just make her laugh, if I just stay confident, if I just keep talking, she'll warm up. But the truth is, when you ignore physical disinterest, you don't look confident. You look blind. You're proving that you value fantasy more than reality. Let me show you two men who handle this very differently. Ryan meets a woman at a bar. He's intrigued. She's beautiful, graceful, calm. He approaches her, starts talking. But as he speaks, she's scanning the room, not him. Her arms are crossed, her body turned slightly away. When he leans closer to hear her, she leans back. Still, Ryan keeps going. He thinks maybe she's just reserved. He talks more, tries to be funnier, tries harder. But the harder he tries, the colder she gets. Finally, she excuses herself and disappears. Ryan walks away confused, thinking, maybe I should have said something different. Now David finds himself in the same situation. He walks up, starts a friendly conversation. Within a minute, he notices her posture. Arms folded, shoulders angled away, eyes avoiding his. Instead of pushing, he pauses, smiles politely and says, "Nice meeting you." Then he walks away. He doesn't feel rejected. He feels free. Because David didn't chase energy that wasn't reciprocated. He saw the truth and accepted it without ego. That's the Stoic difference. A Stoic man doesn't take rejection personally. He doesn't turn it into drama. He sees it as nature doing its job, giving him information. He doesn't force his presence where it's not wanted. He protects his peace. And that's real strength. Not loud, desperate effort, but calm withdrawal. Because attraction isn't built through insistence. It's revealed through reciprocity. If her body language closes off, close the chapter. Don't step forward when she steps back. Don't force connection when she's avoiding eye contact. Respect her space and, more importantly, respect yourself. When you pull back gracefully, you send a message, not just to her but to yourself. My energy is valuable. My presence is earned, not imposed. And here's the paradox. That very act of walking away often creates the respect you were chasing. Because silence, when it comes from self-respect, is louder than persuasion. You see, energy is contagious. When you show that you're unaffected, that you can read the room without resentment, you project control. You show that your peace doesn't depend on her reaction. That's what Stoic detachment looks like. Not emotional numbness, but emotional discipline. A Stoic man observes, interprets, and acts, never out of desperation, only out of awareness. If her body leans away, let it. If her eyes wander, let them. If her arms fold, fold your interest with them. You don't argue with reality. You align with it. And that's what separates the wise from the desperate. Acceptance over illusion. Because every time you ignore what her body is screaming, you lose a little of your dignity. You teach yourself to doubt what you already know, and the more you chase a closed door, the less respect you command, from her and from yourself. But when you read the signs early, when you choose silence over struggle, something changes. You stop being the man who begs for attention and become the man who walks with self-assurance. And that's the man every Stoic strives to be. Calm, grounded, untouchable. So remember this truth, brother. Attraction is open. Disinterest is closed. Her words may confuse you, but her body won't. Watch the signals, and when you see them, act with quiet certainty. Because the right woman won't fold her arms to block you out. She'll open them to welcome you in. And the moment you learn to tell the difference, you stop chasing the wrong doors and start walking through the ones that are already open. Sign 7. She flirts with other men in front of you. You're out together at a bar. The night feels easy. The lights low, the music soft, the energy just right. You step away for a moment to grab a drink. When you turn back, there she is, leaning into another man's conversation, hair flipped, eyes bright, laughing like he just told the funniest story on earth. And you're standing there watching it, the way she touches his arm, the way her body angles toward him, the way her attention is entirely his. That's not a coincidence. That's communication. Because a woman who's truly into you won't openly flirt with another man in front of you. Attraction doesn't behave that way. When she values you, she protects your presence, even when you're not looking. She wants you to feel chosen. But when she doesn't feel that spark, she doesn't protect it. She doesn't guard your dignity because she doesn't feel emotionally invested in it. She's not thinking, how will this make him feel? She's thinking, how do I feel right now? And that's the painful truth most men refuse to face. When a woman doesn't respect you, she won't even try to hide it. This behavior is not about confidence, not about testing you, not about making you jealous. It's about emotional alignment, or lack of it. When attraction fades, so does restraint. Because here's how the psychology works. When a woman genuinely likes a man, she naturally wants to protect the bond between them. She avoids behavior that might damage his trust or embarrass him publicly. But when she doesn't care, that instinct disappears. Respect follows interest, and without attraction, respect evaporates. And yet, too many men see this as a challenge. They think, I'll just outshine the other guy. I'll be funnier, more confident, more charming. They enter the invisible competition, trying to win back attention that should have been freely given. But here's the thing. The moment you start competing, you've already lost. Because the man who competes is saying, your validation defines my worth. Epictetus said it perfectly. Never beg for what is freely given elsewhere. If she can give her laughter, her eye contact, her energy to another man in front of you, don't beg for it back. That attention was never yours to keep. A Stoic man doesn't fight for scraps. He walks away from the table entirely. Let me show you the difference. Chris takes a woman to dinner. Everything starts well. The restaurant is quiet, the atmosphere intimate. But halfway through the meal, the waiter cracks a small joke, and she laughs a little too hard. Her eyes linger. She compliments his tattoos, touches his arm while thanking him for the wine. Chris feels it, that sting in his chest. But instead of staying centered, he panics. He starts trying harder, louder jokes, flashier stories, desperate attempts to pull her focus back. He's not enjoying the meal anymore. He's performing. By the end of the night, she's uninterested and he's exhausted. Now imagine David in the same situation. He sees her flirting with the waiter, sees the energy shift. He doesn't scowl, doesn't compete, doesn't raise his voice. He simply takes a sip of his drink, finishes his meal, and says calmly, "Thanks for tonight." Then he stands up and leaves. No anger, no drama, just dignity. Guess which man leaves a stronger impression? Not the one who tried harder, but the one who refused to play the game. Because his silence carries more weight than any jealous reaction ever could. It communicates, I don't need to compete for what's already mine. And if it's not mine, I don't want it. That's self-respect. And self-respect is non-negotiable. Here's what men forget. Women notice everything. When you start arguing, showing jealousy, or trying to prove you're better than the other man, you reveal insecurity. And insecurity is the fastest way to destroy any remaining attraction. A woman might forget what you said, but she'll never forget how you made her feel. And nothing makes her feel less attraction than watching a man lose his composure. The Stoic man doesn't react. He reads reality, accepts it, and acts with calm authority. Because dignity doesn't raise its voice, it walks away quietly. When she flirts with someone else, she's showing you exactly where you stand. That's not a mystery to decode. That's the answer you've been avoiding. And so don't confront her in public. Don't send emotional texts later asking, "Why did you do that?" Don't compete with the man she's giving attention to. Competing validates the insult. Silence ends it. A Stoic man knows that attraction can't be negotiated, only observed. He understands that his energy is sacred, and he doesn't waste it proving his worth to someone who clearly doesn't value it. Because in truth, every moment you spend trying to win her attention back, you're communicating that her approval matters more than your peace. And nothing weakens a man faster than that. When you walk away instead, something powerful happens. She notices your absence. The game stops because you refuse to play. You didn't get emotional. You got silent. You didn't fight for her attention. You reclaimed your dignity. And that's when she realizes what she lost. A man who doesn't need to be validated to feel valuable. A Stoic man would rather lose a woman than lose his composure, because composure is power. So the next time she flirts with another man in front of you, don't compete. Conclude. Understand what's happening and act accordingly. Not out of pride, but out of principle. Because at the end of the day, no woman worth keeping will make you question your worth. She won't risk your respect just to feed her ego. She won't make you feel like second place. And if she does, You owe it to yourself to walk away with calm certainty, not resentment. The Stoic man doesn't fight for attention. He creates a life so magnetic that people naturally want to be part of it. He doesn't chase energy that's already moving away. He conserves it, redirects it, builds something better with it. So remember this, when she flirts with others in front of you, she's not playing a game. She's revealing the truth. And the truth is, all a Stoic ever needs. Self-respect is non-negotiable, because the right woman won't make you compete for her attention. She'll compete for the privilege of keeping yours. Let's be honest, you already knew. You saw the signs long before you admitted them, the missed calls, the one-word replies, the "I'm busy" excuses, the way she scrolled through her phone while you spoke, the way she brought her friends along, the way her body leaned away, the way she laughed just a little too freely with other men. You felt it in your gut. You just didn't want to face it, because facing it would mean accepting that it's over, or worse, that it never really began. But that's where the Stoic journey begins, at the point where denial ends and truth begins. Here's the wake-up call, brother. If she disrespects your time, if her phone is more important than you, if she's always too busy, if every conversation feels forced, if she avoids being alone with you, if her body closes off, and if she flirts with other men while you stand there, that's not attraction. That's rejection dressed in politeness. It's not confusion. It's not a test. It's not bad timing. It's clarity, disguised as mixed signals. And the longer you deny it, the more you betray yourself. But once you see it for what it is, something powerful happens. You stop chasing. You stop justifying. You stop begging for attention from people who've already shown they don't care. You find freedom, not through control, but through awareness. That's what Stoicism is all about. Seeing things as they are, not as you wish them to be. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." You can't control how she feels. You can't control whether she texts back, whether she respects your time, or whether she chooses you. But you can control how you respond. You can control whether you stay or walk, whether you waste time decoding her silence or invest that energy into your peace. That's freedom, the kind that doesn't depend on anyone else. Because when you stop chasing what doesn't value you, you reclaim everything you lost. Your focus, your energy, your strength, your self-respect. The Stoics taught that true power lies in self-mastery, the ability to govern your emotions, not be governed by them. When you let go of the woman who's not into you, you're not losing love. You're gaining sovereignty. You're reminding yourself that your worth isn't measured by who stays, but by how you stand when someone leaves. And when you reach that level of awareness, rejection no longer wounds you. It refines you. You start to see it differently, not as humiliation but as redirection. Every no clears the path for the yes that belongs to you. Every woman who walks away makes space for the one who will walk beside you. Every closed door teaches you that you never needed entry to begin with, but you have to let go first. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. It means you stop giving your time, attention, and energy to people who haven't earned it. It means walking away not with anger, but with grace. A Stoic man doesn't beg for closure. He creates it through acceptance. He doesn't replay the past in his head. He rewrites it through action. He doesn't wish for her to come back. He wishes himself to move forward. That's the difference between boys and men. Boys chase validation, men cultivate peace. And peace, my brother, is the ultimate power. Because once you learn to be content with your own presence, you stop fearing her absence. You stop trying to impress. You stop performing. You simply are. Grounded, calm, centered. The kind of man who doesn't need attention to feel valuable, but gets it anyway because that kind of calm is magnetic. So take a deep breath and reflect. Look back at the signs you've ignored, the lateness you excused, the messages you waited on, the energy you gave away. All of it. Those moments weren't wasted. They were lessons. Every time you got played, ghosted, or dismissed, you were being refined. Each rejection carved out a better version of you, one who no longer tolerates half effort, half love, or half truth. Because what's left after illusion fades is clarity. And clarity is freedom. If this message hit home, don't just listen, live it. Stop waiting for people who've already chosen not to show up for you. Stop justifying the mixed signals. Stop overanalyzing what she really meant. You already know what she meant. Her silence said it. Her absence proved it. Now it's your move. You can keep waiting for validation, or you can walk toward liberation. You can keep chasing women who drain you, or you can start building the life that attracts the right one. A life grounded in discipline, focus, and quiet confidence. Because that's what the true Stoic way is about. Not escaping emotion, but mastering it. Not avoiding pain, but learning through it. Not needing approval, but radiating self-respect. If this truth resonates with you, if you're ready to stop being a prisoner to mixed signals and start becoming a master of your peace, then this is your moment. If this message hit home, don't just listen, live it. Comment, share, and subscribe to True Stoic Way. The brotherhood where men choose respect over desperation. Rejection isn't the end, it's redirection. Because at the end of the day, rejection doesn't define you. Your response to it does. A Stoic man faces the truth head-on, even when it hurts, because he knows that pain is temporary, but dignity is forever. He doesn't chase affection that has to be earned through suffering. He doesn't fight for attention that costs him his peace. He simply sees, accepts, and acts, calmly, firmly, freely. That's how he wins, not by convincing others, but by conquering himself. So the next time you see the signs, when she disrespects your time, when she chooses her phone, when she's too busy, when the conversation dies, when she avoids being alone, when her body closes off, when she flirts with others, don't take it personally. Take it as permission to walk away, because the right woman won't leave you guessing. She won't play games with your time, energy, or dignity. She'll match your presence with her own. Until then, hold the line. Protect your peace. Walk with quiet strength. And remember, brother, the Stoic doesn't chase love. He becomes love. Through discipline, through clarity, through self-respect. Stay strong. Stay stoic. Stay unshakable.